Teacher Mokhtar, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm really sorry because it was mute. Okay, so we said, for example, can you give me your identification card or ID? Okay, you will say, for example, absolutely. Here you are, sir or miss. If the person actually is like a man, you just use sir. If she's a woman, you can say miss. Miss. Okay, you will say, for example, absolutely, here you are, sir. Absolutely, here you are. And what I said also before, actually, it is the first impression is very important. الانطباع الأول بالنسبة لك جدا مهم. طريقة تقديم نفسك، تقديم إذا الايدنتيفيكيشن كارد، وعندما تتكلم في البداية بلغة كويسة تعطي انطباع كويس. إذا أنت بتبدأ من أول شيء لغة ملخبطة بيأخذ عليك انطباع سيء. So just the first impression is very important. If you'll say, just can you give me your ID? Absolutely. Here you are, sir. Here you are, Ms. It's okay. If you can say here you are, it's okay. If you say like here you are and that's it, it's okay. If you want to say definitely, of course, sure, why not? It's okay. Use anything that you want, but this is actually one of the ways. Okay, so maybe he will ask you, can you give me your full name? Or sometimes he will give you, say, like, introduce yourself. كل واحد لها طريقة. So if he asks you, like, introduce yourself, قدم نفسك. So here, actually, you can start like this. Let me just change the letters. As you have seen in my passport, for example, my name is blah blah blah. I am blah 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 years old. I'm living. I am from كذا كذا كذا, but currently I am living, for example, in Malaysia. I am a student, for example. And just continue, for example. Okay, so for example, if he asks you like introduce yourself here, you can say as you've seen my passport. Like if you say like as you've seen, means you're able to use present perfect. So you show him the grammar. So as you've seen my passport, because yes, he has already seen it like an identification card. When he asks you, can you give me your ID? So you'll say, as you've seen my passport, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Yemen, but currently I'm living, for example, in Malaysia. I am a student. I want to study, for example, I want to join or enroll university. That's why I am studying or I am preparing the IELTS exam. تكلم عن نفسك 3 4 5 6 جمل. Okay, if he says introduce yourself, if he says introduce yourself, but sometimes actually he won't like asks you, he won't ask you about yourself. Maybe he will say, what is your full name only? Okay. So if he says, for example, what's your full name? This is something else. Here, no need just to talk a lot. Okay, so you need just to talk immediately and tell him, for example, the name. Okay, you can say, for example, my full name is blah, 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 blah. Okay, don't talk a lot, because if he asks you, like, for example, what is your full name? You can say, for example, my full name is Muhammad Ali Kadaka, and that's it. So you need just to depend, like, for example, you need to answer according to the questions that will be asked, like, for example, in the exam. Okay, you just answer according to the questions that will be given in the exam. So try to talk between 2 up to 4 sentences, and don't try to talk more, and don't try to use very sophisticated language. Try to be normal. حاول تستخدم كلمات كويسة وأكاديمية كذا، بس خليك إنسان طبيعي، لأنه لو تصنعت يعرفوا، ولو تكلمت بشكل طويل يظنوا أنك حفظت فقط، ولو تكلمت في خارج الإطار يظنون، فهم يبحثوا عن الشخص الطبيعي. هذا من بعد ما عرفنا مؤخرا، بس من قبل على أساس أنه الطالب بنحضره بلغة ويحفظ كلمات ويحفظ عبارات ويحفظ كذا، بس في الحقيقة نتفاجأ أنه يحصل 6 مثلا 5.5 6 في الآيلتس. فالذي يريد مثلا يحصل على درجة كويسة في السبيكينج يخلي نفسه طبيعي، يعني يتكلم من جملتين إلى 3 جمل 4 جمل، بس مو جملة واحدة طبعا، ولا يحاول 2 3 4 3 4 بين هذا المينيمم أو بين هذا الليمت، ويحاول قدر الإمكان أنه لا يتصنع اللغة، يعني لا يحاول مثلا كل عبارات حفظية وجمل معقدة، خاصة في البارت نمبر 1. فالأصل أنك تبدأ بشكل سلس، لأنه الأسئلة ستكون على الحياة، على الإديوكيشن، على your job، على your study، your name. أوكي، فلا تحاولش تكونوا مثلا فخمين في اللغة، خليك طبيعي جدا، تكلم عادي. طيب, so if he asks you like your name, so we talked about. Now the second question is very important, which is like, do you work or study? Do you work or study? And this is actually one of the main questions. Do you work or study? So you can start with fillers, for example. Capital. Honestly, as a matter of fact, as a point of fact, well, to be honest, you just start like this, for example. So choose any word or any filler that you want. Honestly, for example, I have no work now. I have no job. Comma. I am a student. Okay. doesn't, it is not necessarily to be, for example, to be real. It is not necessarily to be real. You can, for example, say, for example, to be honest, I work, or I am a student, as well as I work as, for example, a part-time job in كذا كذا. إذا تريد مثلا تخليها جملة أفضل من كذا. So honestly, for example, I am a student, as well as I work as a part-time job in, for example, a shop is called كذا كذا. هذا ستكون أفضل من كذا. ليش؟ لأنك استخدم جملة complex معقدة. Honestly, I have no job. I am a student. Okay, these are two simple sentences, جمل بسيطة. But actually you can say, for example, I am a student, as well as I work as a part-time job in, for example, marketing. هذا أيضا إجابة ممتازة لأنه أصلا complex and جملة معقدة. Okay, so I am a student, as well as I work as a part-time job in a marketing. Remember that you will be asked 3-4 questions about this. 3 more questions. Maybe he will ask you about how your job, for example, how is your job? And maybe he will ask you like, how many hours do you work? How do you find it? Like, what is your job like? What does it look like? So maybe you will be asked questions like this. So try to prepare an answer that you can be able to answer the questions that will come right after this. لو قلت له I am a student وقفت، كيف راح يسألك الأسئلة اللي بعد؟ فأنت حاول إنك تعطي مثلا وظيفة حتى لو كانت ليست حقيقية. So for example, I am a student, as well as I work as a part-time job in marketing. بعدين يبدأ يسألك والله كم عدد الساعات اللي تشتغل فيها مثلا؟ كيف تشوف وظيفتك صعبة ولا سهلة؟ يعني أكيد سيكون هناك بعض الأسئلة بعد do you work or study? Because we said before, as in techniques, like when we studied, we said like the question will be followed by some subtopics, right? Like question number 1, and then you will have actually some questions, like 3 questions about the same set, about the same group. Okay, so this is like number 2. Number 3, you need also to prepare about your hometown. Tell me about your hometown or describe your hometown, it depends. Describe your hometown. Well, تبدأ توصف. For example, الباقيات راح موجودة في الملف، بس هؤلاء تحفظوها تفهمون لأنه هذا أكيد راح تبدأ بهن يعني. Well, I live in, for example, a small hometown, for example, is called anything that you want. وحاول انك تعطي اي اسم حتى بالعربي. I live in a small hometown is called Tabuk. I live in a small hometown is called, for example, اي مكان. It is, for example, located to the south, مثلا to the south east of مثلا Yemen, which is located in Asia. So it is located to the southeast of Yemen, which is located in Asia. Okay, and then you start talking about your hometown, for example, the features, for example. You can say, for example, my hometown has, for example, many features. Okay. And then you start maybe talking about, for example, the beaches, you talk about the mountains, you talk about anything that you want. Also, maybe you talk about, like, for example, the people. Also, for example, the people. Nano describe. Also, the people in my country are really, for example, nice and cooperative, kind and cooperative. Okay, so this is actually you might, for example, use. Actually, we have also like some, for example, some sentences about hometown in the file. Well, I live in a small hometown. It is called blah blah blah. It is located to the southeast of Yemen, which is blah blah blah. My hometown has many beautiful features, such as مثلا, the mountains, a lot of old landmarks, مثلا, mountains, rivers, seas, and kind of features. Not only this, but also the people in my country are really nice, kind, and cooperative. And cooperative. خلاص. هنا تقريبا 5 جمل بس لا تتكلم بشكل كبير لأنه if you just go off topic and you start talking about transportation, you talk about everything. No. Yes, you talk mainly about your hometown, how it is, what the features, and also maybe you talk about the people like in your hometown. Okay. خلاص هذه الأسئلة اللي لازم تركز عليها. الباقيات في معنا 42 موضوع موجودات في الملف الثاني. So I'll try to save it for you and then I will send it to you via WhatsApp. Okay, so the questions actually are here. For example, you have name. Who gave you your name? You can see the file?
Yes, we can.
Your name, it's okay. We've talked about the name. Study or work? Okay, for example, do you work or are you a student? So you see, here we have some questions also. He said, I am currently a student at high school. I am studying A levels in order to, for example, in order to go to a university in Britain. خلاص. بس تركز إنه في معك أيضا بعض الأسئلة الأخرى. Is that popular subject in your country? What are the most popular subjects in China? Why did you choose that university? مثلا هذا على الوظيفة نفسها تخليك جاهز. طيب الهوم تاون جهزنا مثلا. What's the name of your hometown? Well, my hometown is the city of Nihang وكذا. هذا أخذناها. طيب نبدأ من عند accommodation. قبل أن تأخذ الإجابة كل واحد يحاول إنه يتكلم. So what kind of housing or accommodation do you live in? What kind of housing or accommodation do you live in? Try to talk for 3 or 4 sentences only. Okay, who's gonna start?
I can start if you like, so.
Yes.
So I live in apartments in a condominium. It's like really nice condominium. It has a lot of facilities. It has a gymnasium and it has a swimming pool. And our neighbors is like really nice people, very quiet, and they are very helpful. And yeah, I like living there.
Okay. Thank you, Mahmoud. Yeah. Anybody else? Wala.
I can say well I live in small city, or I can say well I live in a condominium. I live in a unit in floor 18 and my number of unit is 1808.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So thanks. Anybody else? Just talk about the place that you live in, like your house, your apartment, anything, like 2, 3, 4 sentences, and that's it. Yeah, okay. All right, so let's choose randomly. Farah, what do you think? What kind of accommodation do you live in?
Well, I live in a condominium, and it's a really good place. It has a lot of facilities. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, good. All right, thanks. So you have here a sample, for example, of answer. He said, we live in a pretty spacious apartment in Nihang. So spacious means very, very large. It is really big. So this one, maybe you can use it like the word, like spacious. Okay, so you can say, I live in a pretty spacious apartment in KL. I live, like, for example, in the 5th floor of a high rise, and it is size about 100, for example, square meters. And it is fairly nice, for example, place. Okay. And for example, our apartment has 6 rooms, on living room or kitchen, 2 bathrooms, and another 2, for example, bedrooms. Okay, so you might take something from this answer, like something that you didn't, maybe you just take, for example, the ideas of Kari. So I live in a very, like, for example, pretty and spacious apartment in KL. And for example, it is located in the, for example, 8th floor of a high rise, and its size, blah, blah, blah. It has, for example, 3 rooms, 2 bathrooms, and blah, blah, blah. خلاص. طيب, question number 2 actually here. Do you live in a house or a flat? Okay. Who do you live with? Who do you live with? This is a very easy question. Okay, you can say, for example, actually, I don't live alone. I live with my family, which consists of like 3 persons, my mom, my dad, and my brother, and you talk about them. Or you just say, for example, as a matter of fact, I'm living here alone because my family is not here. It is like in my homeland. فجاوب بطريقتك أي كانت الطريقة. Okay, so let's go to another topic, which is weather. What's weather like today? What's the weather like today? Who's gonna answer the question? What's the weather like today? Means you need to describe like the weather, how it is like today. What is like the weather like? Voila.
I can say today, the weather is so nice because it's snow. I feel a little bit cold, but really I'm interesting with the snow, and I prefer and my favorite I am playing with the in the snow
Okay,
area.
good. Thanks for your try. Yeah, somebody else? What's the weather like today? So you need to describe the weather actually according to the weather that day. You will say, for example, what's the weather like today? So you need to describe the weather according to the day itself. If it is sunny, you need to explain it. If it is like windy, whatever. Yes, Mahmoud.
Well, the weather today is really nice. The skies are clear, and there's like a nice breeze also. So it's not very hot and not very cold at the same time.
Good.
And yeah, I like it. It's like perfect for a picnic.
Yeah, that's also right. Very good. Thanks. Yeah, somebody else? Try just to participate because the answer is also here in the file, but try to know yourself. Just try to practice. Because today I'm gonna send you the file and then you read tomorrow. I'll try to ask you all like randomly. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you randomly about any topic. And then try to use the phrases, the clauses and techniques. Try to talk more. And don't be shy, it's okay. If you have mistakes, try to have your mistakes here, not in the exam. He said, for example, it is really freezing You can say one of these words like sunny, cool, breezy, chilly, warm, humid, hot. It depends, for example, on like the weather that will be like that day. So if it is like cold, you can say cold or sunny. You just memorize these. It depends like on the day itself. If I didn't have to take the IELTS exam, I would prefer to stay at home. Okay, you see, this is a good answer. All right. So it's really freezing today. It is really very hot today. And if I didn't have to take the IELTS exam, I would rather prefer, for example, to stay at home. This is like an answer. Okay. Another question. What kind of weather do you like best? What kind of weather do you like best? What's your favorite weather? Maybe you will be asked also about the seasons. Okay. So for example, he said here, I would prefer to say, actually, I prefer cloudy days because then it is neither too hot nor too cold. This is like the answer of question number 2. What kind of weather do you like best? He said, for example, here, I prefer cloudy days because then it is neither too hot nor too cold. Okay, try to take some ideas from this also. Try to read today all the topics, try to prepare some ideas, and then tomorrow we'll talk about them. So, do you think it is important to be on time? Do you think that it is important to be punctual person? If you will be asked, this is yes or no questions. What is your answer? Do you think it is important to be on time? Yes, Wala.
Yeah, of course, or definitely. I think I must or to be a punctual person, and because the important to be on time, because if I am a punctual person, that means I respect the time and respect the people who I will go to visit them or meet them, or also I must be a respectable person with my job, with my studying, or my teacher or my boss. So
Okay.
that I must be punctual person.
All right, thank you so much. But try to talk only 4 or 5 sentences. Don't talk a lot, okay? Because we're still in task number 1. Thank you so much, Wala. Yes, Farah.
Yes, absolutely. I have to respect other time, and I have to be in time when I'm meeting people or going to any appointments. Because if I respect other times, they would respect me all. In the other hand.
Good. Thank you so much. Very good. So we have also an answer here. Yes, yeah, I think it is definitely is because it is basic good manners to be on time for things. I think you would agree it is pretty rude to keep people waiting. And so for example, so it is a kind or it kind of gives a bad impression about that person. خلاص خذ بعض الأفكار منها. Okay. So do you think it is important to be on time? Absolutely yes, because it is a basic good manners to be on time, okay, for things. I think you would agree it is pretty rude to keep people waiting. And so it kind of gives a bad impression about that person. Okay, you see, a good answer. طيب, question number 2. How do you feel when others are late? How do you feel? Okay, if somebody, like, for example, says to you that he's going to come and then he's late. So how do you feel? What is Mr. Saber?
Yes, sir.
How do you feel, Mr. Saber, if someone is late?
I feel irritated because feel the people that I'm waiting for are not interested about the meeting that we are gathering about.
Good. Thank you so much. Yes. Yes, Mr. Mahmoud, what do you think? Like, if somebody is late, how do you feel?
Well, in my opinion, if you have an appointment with me or with anybody else, and if you are late on this appointment, I think it's disrespectful, and this one like shows that you are like not interested, or maybe you have something more important going on.
Okay.
So you should have just told me that you can't make it.
Okay, very good. Thanks. Yes, one of the girls, Farah.
It actually depends on the meeting. If we're gathering about we are going out, or it's a job meeting or something. So if it's a job meeting, I will definitely be like not. I will definitely be يعني, annoyed, because they have to respect my time, and I already scheduled a time for them and they're late. But
Yeah,
if we are just gathering to go out or to hang out, I will try to give them reasons, or yeah, to understand why they are late.
that's right. Also, very good answer. Thanks. Okay, so he said, well, I guess it is a kind of depends. Maybe you just memorize this one. It is, for example, a kind of depends. Because I mean, if there is a good reason for being late, like getting stuck in traffic, when I will not really mind that much. But if the person doesn't really have any excuse, and it is simply because they would or they could not be like bothered, for example, to arrive on time, then I suppose I might feel a bit annoyed. You see, this is a good answer also. So it is actually a matter of depends. If the person actually has a real excuse, like for example, stuck in traffic, so I wouldn't like, for example, mind. But actually, if it is like a habit, okay, for this person, I will be extremely, for example, annoyed. Yeah, you just take it and try to paraphrase it in other words. How to أخذ بعض الأفكار. Okay, so these are the questions. Will be in the same way. Are you yourself late very often? Also, this is a question. How do you feel when you are late? How do you think you could be like on time? Do you wear, for example, a watch? These questions and also the answers are here. Try to have a look at. Okay, also another question, it is easy also about television. How much, for example, TV do you usually watch? It is easy, this question. Let me just choose randomly. How often or how much TV do you usually watch? Okay, can you raise your hands, please? I'm not going to choose because I will try to make you read the file today and try to have some ideas. And inshallah, tomorrow I'm going to choose randomly, like every person must speak because we have in speaking. We are like in a speaking test. Mahmoud, yes, Mahmoud.
Well, this question is, I think it's a little bit outdated because nowadays TV is not as much like popular as before. Because now everybody is like either watching the news or watching movies or TV series on their phones or on their laptops. So I think the answer for this question will be like very few times. Like I would turn on the TVs like the TV very few times.
Yep. All right, thank you, Mr. Mahmoud. Yes, Wala.
I can say rarely I watch TV because almost the time I am busy, but also I give to myself 2 hours or 1 hour to know or to check the TV programs and the news and the information, so that I didn't like to waste my time when to watch TV. So I only 1 day, 1 hour per day I can watch TV.
Okay, thank you. Good. Yeah, anybody else wants to participate? Okay, I suggest you, for example, have a look at the file. Try to answer the question before you look at the answer. And then try to take maybe the ideas, maybe some words. Don't memorize the answers as they are, but try to take the ideas, sometimes what you need, because you have English, I think you have language. The problem sometimes of the ideas, like while you're answering, actually, or while you're reading the answers, you will have some feedback. معلومات هذه راح تفيدك كثيرا. الدخلات، القفلات، الكلمات الكويسة حاول تأخذها، الأفكار خذها. Okay, let's have a look here. For example, he said, I seldom watch TV. I only turn on the TV to watch a football match on weekends. This is once a week. Okay, so maybe this is, for example, number one. Or you can say once in the blue moon. I write it for you, just once in the blue moon. نادراً يعني. This is like an idiom, for example, once in the blue moon. Once in the blue moon. Very, very rarely, like very rarely. نادراً جداً. Okay, sometimes I watch TV. So you can say sometimes, always, for example, once in the blue moon, for example. Really, I'm not a big fan of watching television because of my work, because I am busy actually with something else. I have no time actually to watch, for example, TV at all. I seldomly watch TV. Try to answer any like sort of answer. Okay, TV. So question number two. What is your favorite TV program? What is your favorite TV program? You can start like one of the sentences or the clauses that we talked about. Like, for example, well, there are too many, for example, programs that I'm really keen on. The one I like best is blah 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 because blah blah blah. ممكن تأخذ التكنيكس اللي أخذناها في الملف السابق. Okay. إذا, for example, about your favorite or what do you like, you can say like this. You start from general up to specific. So say, for example, there are many programs that I'm really keen on. I'm really big fan of. And then you just, the one that I really, really enjoy is blah. And then you talk about it. Yes, Farah?
Well, lately I've been watching a lot of TV series, but there is a one lately that I've been watching. It's called How to Get Murdered, and I'm watching it in Netflix.
Good. All right, thanks also. Yes, good. So, okay, so I'm gonna give you like today as a chance or opportunity for you to read the file and to read the answers. Try to have some feedback about the questions. الأسئلة هذا موجودة أكثر شيوعا في اللغة الإنجليزية ومع الإجابات. يعني الإجابات طبعا إجابات جدا ممتازة بس ما تحفظها يعني. حاول إنك تأخذ بعض الأفكار يعني. حاول إنك تأخذ بعض الكلمات. استعين ببعض الأفكار مثلا holidays here we celebrate blah blah blah. You have film also. You see, for example, do you like to watch films? I'm really into watching films. I am really big fan of watching movies. حاول تأخذ بعض الكلمات. حاول تأخذ بعض السياقات. Okay, leisure time. What do you do like in your spare time? Well, I enjoy driving around my spare time. Spare time, نفسها. My like leisure time, نفس الكلام. Try to read the file, how to تقرأ الملف. وغدا إن شاء الله we'll try to practice it more and try to take some feedback from each other. Like maybe the students will gain some benefit from their, for example, classmates. And also you will have some answers here. Try to have a look. And inshallah, we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, is it clear?